Comrades, welcome to episode 25 of the Quamfy Show. Today we are going to talk about what happened in the community the last week. There was some, well, let's call it trouble. Let's start with the word trouble. It all turned out. Gilbert showed up, saved the day. We're going to address that. We're going to talk about Overledger update 2.2.11. Can't remember if we covered this last week, but today we have Bas. He's coming on the show a little bit later to take us through the NFTs. Oh. And he's going to show us how this all new Hyperledger fabric, QRC-721 and QRC-20 synergy will work, which is going to be pretty interesting. Also, Oracle been tweeting on Quant, been shouting us out from the main account, so we're going to have a stab at that. SDX has been shilling us, or SIX actually. And as I just checked, the price of QNT right now is, it's back 99.85. It was 100 a little bit ago, euros. So that's pretty cool as well. So it's going to be an interesting episode. And I would very much appreciate if you guys interact with our video. Let us know what questions you have, what you think we could do better. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. We love the feedback. Make sure to subscribe, like, etc. And these are all the formalities out of the way. Tim, you're looking really serious. You're getting wrinkles, my man. How is life?
It could be better, okay. Honestly. Tough week. Lots of fodders. Taking away a lot of bandwidth for me. Gilbert apparently is just a tech guy. I didn't know that, but apparently just a tech guy is Gilbert's version. Yeah, so I don't know. Sometimes I wish I wasn't in this position. Being in the middle of all the stuff that happens, it takes away a lot of bandwidth. But on the other hand, it's really fun to record the show, and we are here. And with everything that happened last week, we have so much to cover. We have so much to talk about, and we should just do it. Personally, I'm fine. It's just that Telegram and Instagram and Twitter and all those other social nightmares give me a headache at times, and I do understand why people just step away from their phone because it's not good for you.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Worrying about stuff on my phone. I shouldn't be doing that, but I do.
And worrying about stuff on your phone, about what other people are thinking and saying in a different part of the world. Yeah.
That is pretty much my position, and sometimes I wish I wasn't in that position, but I am. Because well, the popcorn is always great to have with you and just watch the world burn the dumpster fire. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about, because it was quite a dumpster fire this week. It resulted in a V shape, and that V shape kind of resembled my how I felt. Terrible headache on Tuesday. My stomach was turning again. My head was spinning. Wasn't good, and then it ended up all rosy with an Oracle tweet with 800k followers. So it's quite a roller coaster. Yeah, that's me. How are you, Jarno? How's life?
Yeah, well, that's pretty good. I'm chilling at my sister's right now. She's nice. She has a nice little garden at the water, and I've been sitting inside last couple of now. Now everything is pretty good. I also noticed the social media. I'm looking for the right word, but it's a little bit of a mess right now, and most, if it's resolved, fuck, it's great. We exactly know what is what right now. We'll address this in a little bit, but as a result, the questions we are getting have now dropped from at least high double-digit IQ to nearly single digits, which is pretty annoying, because a couple of weeks ago we got the what is the token utility, etc., and now indeed we are getting, is Gilbert even real, and and stuff like that, which is amazing. We're also back to why is Quant ERC-20, and I understand that this is coming with an influx of new people. Following the news, Quant's been trending quite a bit, and in the news lately also big accounts. So there's a lot of
your voice, your sound. It's you're a robot.
Is my sound shit again? No,
Yeah.
my internet should be good.
Repeat what you just said. No, it's okay. It was just you were a robot.
Was it me or was it you?
Well,
who knows?
I'm pretty confident it was you.
Okay. Oh,
but it's up to the listeners. So repeat what you the last part.
Write down the time. We need to check this for ourselves as well. I'm curious about this because sometimes this apparently happens. And I just tested my audio from my bathroom, from my sleeping room, from the bedroom, sorry, and from the kitchen. And everywhere I had a reception. And now I am like 3 feet away. And there are issues. It's curious. Anyway, what was I talking about? We were talking about... Oh yeah, that the FUD is now back to ERC-20. Why? And why not own blockchain and that stuff, which is really interesting. But that is what you get with a new influx of people. And this is going to get, quote unquote, worse. Not sure if that's the right word. But new people come in, new people have questions. And I urge many of you guys watching are, well, you're the OGs of the future. And I want to urge to be patient and remember that when we all started, we didn't know anything either. I know I got spoon-fed by Luke, CryptoCoin himself, onto how to use Uniswap with ETH, etc. And that was like 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we all started from zero. Let's be patient with the new guys, and let's get into this episode. So what happened?
And also be patient with yourself, because the events that happen take a toll on you. And I must say, it took a toll on me as well. I cannot take it lightly. It did impact me. It impacted a lot of people in the community. Go easy on yourself. Think of your mental stability.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
Side note. Definitely. Okay, so let's go to the part where everyone was waiting for.
Yeah. So to kick this off, I'm going to start the same way as we did in the Dutch episode. If you've seen the Dutch episode, it is not going to be a copy paste of that episode. At least we're going to try and not make it the copy paste.
We might be lying. If you don't speak Dutch, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the story remains the same. And I want to start with this. What you see now on my screen is an excerpt, a print screen from Main, so the Quant community channel. It is written by Gilbert. I'm going to start with this, then I'm going to take you through the email and the story as I know it. So here we go. Firstly, Overledger is powered by QNT. We have had testnet, then mainnet releases for every blockchain. I would like to ask anyone who can show us in code with a transaction number for any Overledger transaction they have somehow sent on mainnets without using QNT. You have to buy a license fee in QNT and have to pay in QNT for sending the transaction. Our approach on how it's handled, lockups, etc. has not changed since our last update and thinking. Every single developer and customer has to purchase a license and pay for the transactions in QNT. And for enterprise clients, they can pay in pounds and we handle their QNT. It's easier for enterprise to manage. It's been this way since our business paper. It's how it is done in the developer portal today and in recent release. And in the recent release, which was a complete new architecture in July. The comments from Carlo were incorrect, and he hasn't been with the company since beginning of July. He doesn't know, and it wasn't his role regarding this. A little bit later, people thanked Gilbert, and Gilbert responded, "No problem. Hope that was helpful and clear. Great to hear the community's feedback and use the technology we've developed to really take blockchain mainstream. The latest and newest release of Tokenize is a game changer for institutions and developers and ordinary users. Anyone can create interoperable digital assets with a few clicks. Even a CEO can do it." Okay, so this was Gilbert in Maine. This was Tuesday. because we recorded obviously an episode on Tuesday evening for Wednesday. So
all this happens, well, yeah, in the course of Monday evening till Central European time till Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah. So the
Central
timeline,
European time, though, it depends on your time zone.
Yeah, the timeline started for me sooner. It was Monday last week when I had an interview with Greg Lund for his Patreon, his podcast. He asked me to be interviewed, and it was an amazing interview. Had a lot of fun. Afterwards, he was like, "Yo, Jorno, can I bounce something off you? I need you to keep this private. This could be really interesting, and also terrifying at the same time." Like, yeah, sure, dude, hit me up. So he sent me a bunch of emails. I'll show you these later. I want to take you through the timeline first. I read the emails, told him I don't want any prior information. Read the emails. It scared the living shit out of me. And then I called him back. What was in the emails? In essence, it was email traffic between an anon. The names were redacted. I also have the original emails. I'm not sharing those, but just for transparency. Between an anon and Carlo Colista. And I forgot to pull up his LinkedIn again, just like in the Dutch episode. So it's going to be a copy paste anyway. Tim, can you look that up? But Carlo Colista has a pretty...
Yeah, sure. Would you like me to share the screen later?
Yeah, just throw it up. People can see that. So Carlo Colista has a pretty decent CV. He's been with the company for almost a year, and he was the head of client services. But apparently he has also been doing customer service, and he replied to the anon. The long and short of it was gateways are postponed. Token is only used for payments and nothing else. And no lockups have ever been planned or will ever happen.
And could you fix your microphone for a bit? It's okay, but it's not the best.
Okay, thank you. So token not needed, no gateways, and only and no lockups ever. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. Spoke to it with Greg, and we discussed. I was like, okay, this is a problem. If this is true, then we have been lied to. So we need to figure this out. And Greg agreed. Greg was like, okay, how are we going to go about this? And we made a plan. And the plan was Greg was going to bounce this off a few senior community members. Then when we had reached a consensus, he would have gone back to me. We would have gone to the admin group, discuss it there, and look for further steps. But those would include notifying the team, trying to get feedback from them. I chimed in with Greg on Thursday, or he with me, I can't remember. And the other community members were unreachable. And he would keep trying, but we would have to wait. Friday, I decided on my own, didn't notify anybody, to create an email myself. And in that email, I used excerpts from the email I got from Greg and quotes from Gilbert from Telegram, as you can could have seen on the screen earlier, where Gil actually explains about the lockups and all the stuff. And the long and short of the email was actually, okay, somebody is not informed or somebody is lying. Gilbert has been telling us this for several years. Calista is now telling us this. Calista, sorry. Who is wrong? Who is right? I didn't tell anybody about that email until after I sent it. I told it to Tim that I did that. Tim was by then in the know because we were prepping an episode on tokenomics. And we're like, okay, we're not going to release this. So I gave him a really diluted version of what was going on. Just enough so he otherwise he would have jumped down my throat. which is logical. We are a team here.
In fact, well, you informed the Instagram team very vaguely, well, because we were developing a post on the tokenomics, and we put it on hold because you said, well, with recent insights, it might not be the best timing to do a post on the tokenomics of Quant.
Yeah.
Since there are new insights, which could be very troubling. But that's the only thing you shared with me. And then before we recorded the Dutch episode last Monday, it was super hot here. Not with me. I was in an air-conditioned building. It was fine. And just before that episode, you just gave me the TLDR on what's going on without sharing any documents, just saying, hey, we basically found this email communication. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What? That was my reaction, and you could have if you look critically, you speak Dutch, and you see my aftermath during the episode. You could see it, and I was kind of troubled.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but
so yeah, it was shocking, and then everything continued. That's my only involvement there. I barely knew anything besides that.
Yeah. So I sent the email on Friday, and weekend passed. Then it turned Monday, and I got a DM from somebody, and it was a video. And it was a video. I can't remember the title, but apparently Greg made that, and he distributed that very video to his Patreons. And that video, I skipped through it before, really quick to see what it was. Notified Greg. I'm like, dude, what the hell is this? Thought we agreed to walk a certain path. That did not happen. I was like, okay, so we need to address this because this is going to be trouble. This will not remain contained since it's already in my DMs. And he was like, fuck, is it already in your DM? Yes, it's already in my DM. So from then on, been DMing people, some community seniors, the admin group, and that was Monday night, 10 o'clock. 12 hours later, the video ended up on Twitter, and the rest is public knowledge. This is the chain of events, to the best of my knowledge, and as honest and straightforward as I can explain it. I don't feel like analyzing motives. I don't like guessing why Greg did what he did. I think that is not up to me. It's I can't see in his head. I didn't like that he, and I said this to him literally, that he broke rank. We decided to go a specific route. Before whatever, we spoke about this. He told me he was sorry about how that went. We both wanted the truth. That's where it started. We wanted to know, is this really right now what we are invested in? Is this literally how it is now? We both couldn't believe that. And that was what we discussed before he released the video. And we're like, okay, we need to get to the bottom of this. Like I said, and the rest is history.
And I think just my perspective in this was, okay, no matter how actually I did have a clear idea how to do it. But we needed to act. That was my initial response. We needed to do something. And well, Greg and you had different opinions on how to do it, and
no, we didn't.
Going all in.
We had a different execution, but the plan was the same.
Yeah, same plan, different execution. Brilliant execution because of how it went. But it felt like going to casino and putting everything on black. But it worked. Hey, shall we go into the material for a bit and show our viewers what we saw and why it caused all this fuss in the community? Oh, you found it as well. Okay.
Yeah. So guys,
Could you make it like full screen? Now I'm. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, since you guys are all English speakers,
And
I'm just
then
gonna
kind of close the window on the right. Just give us a full screen, Jarno. That would be nice if you can. Can we, never mind.
This is a free version. I can.
Okay. I do have the full. It doesn't matter. It's okay.
I'm gonna take you through. I'm just gonna read as much of it right now, so you can hear it verbatim. There's, to my knowledge, no edit of the email themselves. The names are blurred out, you can see. Times are still there. These are excerpts from Zendesk, so the customer service program, and I copy pasted them in here because I got them in an email, and I don't want to dox my email, Greg's email, and also from the anon. I hope you guys understand. In the end, everything, nearly just about everything that is being said and written here is false. It is debunked. This is for your viewing entertainment and information and understanding. So here we go. X starts with, I'm aware that there is Overledger Enterprise, which I believe would be an instance of Overledger run in a network private to a specific client. And then there's the public Overledger network, which will begin with gateways operated by Quant and expand later. Is the public Overledger network currently serving Quant Network clients, or is it only Overledger Enterprise running for now? If the public network is in operation, is Quant being used for licenses, with QNT being locked up for the duration of the license? Thanks. Pretty basic question. We get it all the time. Carlo Colista, the man we spoke about earlier, his CV will come after this. He responded, hi, your understanding of Overledger Enterprise is correct. The public instance of Overledger is fully live. It can be used now. It is free on testnet. It costs 100 GBP to be paid in QNT on mainnet. For privacy reasons, we cannot disclose customer. Using Overledger public/enterprise, QNTs are used only to pay Overledger public on mainnet. They are not locked up. They are used for a normal payment. QNTs not used for anything else. From this man, and this goes against everything we knew. This man's reputation made this plausible. Even though Gilbert has been saying the same thing for 4 years, even though we have done research and we have been preaching the tokenomics for what, over 7 months now, 8 months?
Exactly, and the moment I heard the person behind it, that was the moment that my heart skipped a beat, and my stomach was playing. My stomach plays a key role in my investment decisions, I notice, but
it's a counter indicator.
My counter in the well, apparently, I got shocked. I was like, okay, so that's bad. That's quite bad. The person that is responding. On the other hand, if you read this critically, that was one of my later responses. Like, it's riddled with typos. It's riddled even with grammatical errors. Something is odd. Something is off in this communication, and that annoyed me. So, and that's also the point I've made in the Dutch episode. And we're now going sideways all the time. But
no, it's okay.
If this is one of the central figure, could you grab his LinkedIn? While I'm giving my I'm preaching to the how do you say it? My preach to the
preaching to the choir.
Preaching to the choir. Yeah, well, I'm doing that. I said, well, if this is your head of customer services, client services, that's pretty bad. You would expect someone in such a position to kind of speak English normally, or at least being able to write normally. This is, I don't expect it to be riddled with mistakes. I mean, that's weird, right?
It is. It is. And my thinking was that he was talking about public Overledger, which he most likely was. He was not talking about enterprise with the 100 GBP fee. So I could somewhere in my mind imagine that it would have possibly only been for public OVN. Also, gateways are obviously public OVN, not enterprise. So it could have been that there have been changes. Maybe wouldn't be logical, but it could be possible. Maybe regulation, maybe whatever. And we'll get onto those things later because there are arguments for that to think that as well. This is Carlo Colista, by the way, head of client services and delivery at Quant. Carlo, if you're watching, change that shit. You're gone ever since the beginning of July. But it still reads, he is currently employed by Quant. He worked as a delivery lead at Netcracker. He worked at Accenture full-time for 10 years as a project manager and delivery lead. He worked for IBM as a customer support engineer. This also made the customer support role plausible. Been to university, has a computer science degree, and yeah. So this looked pretty legit.
You would expect someone in such a position with this kind of resume to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
At least I don't know what they do with companies nowadays, but I do expect people to actually know what they're doing. I mean, I'm a DGen myself, but
continuing. The anon asks, are you familiar with the apparent misconception that QNT would be locked up for the duration of a license? Also, I had the impression that a user would pay for Overledger network services in fiat, which would be automatically converted into QNT. Is that anywhere close to how it works? Or is it just that a user must buy QNT to pay for services? So here you can see the disconnect, my argument, between the anon. He's asking for enterprise, while Carlo here is now asking for public. And this, in hindsight, is obviously a very good indicator for that Carlo has no clue what he's talking about. Captain Hindsight here. So Carlo Colista responds, hi X, we are not familiar with this misconception. Where does it come from? If it comes from one of our channels, please let us know. We'll rectify our communication. At the minute, you cannot pay in Overledger license in fiat, but only in QNT. The fiat payments will come during the upcoming months. In other words, if you want to buy an Overledger license, now to execute transactions on MAINNET, you need to buy QNTs to pay for the license. Hope this clarifies. So this is kind of repeating of moves. Anon comes back. There's a widely held belief that there is some locking of tokens related to license fees. See what I can find out. Also, there are instructions for community-run Overledger network gateways on the Quant site, but they don't make reference to locking QNT tokens to get priority to have transactions routed to those gateways. Is that no longer in the plan for those gateways? Calista says, hi, our plans for gateways are currently on hold. We are reviewing the entire strategy around these potential products. So entire strategy around these potential products. Hindsight, products, they are integral to the decentralization of OVN. Without community-run gateways, the resilience of the network is not what it should be.
No.
They've been planning this for a decade, and he thought they were necessary then. And now they could potentially go off the table while the entire world right now is tweeting that the API gateway is the interoperability solution.
On the other hand, to make the case for the emails, Overledger is functioning right now, and we still don't have public gateways. We do have gateways, though, to add to the confusion, but they are run internally by Quant itself. So this entire email communication, it's like, it's plausible. Everything was plausible, and that's shocking.
He continued, at the minute there's no planned date for the launch, but please keep following our new website for the most up-to-date information. So this is a longer response. I'm not going to read this in its entirety, but X is posting a link to quantnetwork.medium Overledger Network Marketplace. And he says that they're talking here about locking QNT. He uses a couple of quotes. One is, for a user or multi-chain app, map, owner to join the Overledger network, they simply pay a non-refundable license fee and fund the payment channel from themselves to the treasury. The funds in the payment channel will remain locked for a set period, after which the user can reclaim any remaining amount. End quote. New quote, after 12 months of the payment channel expiry, the locked up QNT is returned to the treasury. Is this still how things are supposed to work, or has that practice been reconsidered too? So this is indeed how we know the treasury works. Enterprise uses fiat, enterprise gets a license, Quant converts it into QNT, QNT are locked for the duration being 12 months. And that was the end of it. Well, not really. He comes back again. I'm still looking for clarification on this. Was the removal of the article I shared a coincidence? And Carlo comes back. Hi, it's not a coincidence. We removed the articles thanks to your ticket. We are trying to remove all the articles from the past that are no longer actual and might generate misunderstandings. I can confirm that the 100 GBP to be paid in QNT for the Overledger license are payment and won't be refunded. So he's back to the community. Public OVN again. While the anon was clearly talking about a broader spectrum, in my opinion. So anon comes back. Thanks for confirmation about the deletion. He is now narrowing down. For time reasons, I will not read the entirety of this as well, or either. But he says, as the now deleted article stated, at one time there was a plan for large clients to establish a payment channel prepaid with QNT, which would be locked up for 12 months and would then be returned to the treasury. Is that no longer the case? 2, is there any part of the plan for the use of QNT which requires it to be locked up? And 3, I understand that currently QNT must be purchased to pay for Overledger network services. I also understand that in the future it will become possible to purchase Overledger network services with fiat instead of QNT in an earlier version of the plan. Then even in such a case, when fiat was received, there would be an automated purchase of QNT with that fiat. Is that still the expectation when clients are able to pay in fiat, or will it be a transaction that does not involve QNT in any part of the process? So the anon gets it pretty much spot on of how it's supposed to be. Carlo answers question 1. Answer, this was never the case. You can use your QNT to buy access to Overledger and use MAINNET. Testnet remains free. 2, is there any plan to use the QNT to be locked up? No. 3, understand that currently Quant must be purchased to pay for Overledger, and in the future it will be with fiat. Answer, correct. So anon comes back. Please read the entire question. Last part was most important. Is this still expectation? And Carlo responds, in the current scenario, you can pay Overledger subscription only in QNT. In the near future, you'll be able to pay with QNT or fiat. To answer it clearly, in the future, you'll be able to buy an Overledger license without the need of owning QNT. This is currently the plan. Keep referring to the announcement on the Quant website. So there were some other emails in between and before and after, which were just fluff, which were not interesting, didn't add to the discussion. But looking at this, in hindsight, it's obvious that there is something wrong. At that time, with the CV of Carlo in the back of our minds, this begged to be investigated. Because if this would have been what it is, that would have serious implications to many people, probably. But utility has been visible on chain for months, and in my opinion, last year as well. These are some counter arguments. What we see with the wallets is not, according to Hungarian, Sebastian, myself, other people, including Greg, is not organic. It is not possible for a regular Coinbase user to do so many transactions within 1 minute with equal numbers of QNT. It is simply technologically not possible to click that quickly. So there has to be an automation in play. Same goes for the numbers. They add up to nice round numbers if you put in, if you calculate the amount of QNT with the price. We made a video on this. Also, if you think about the tokenomics that were always presented, enterprise buys a license. They pay in they pay in fiat. Quant gets fiat. They buy QNT. If they do not lock the QNT, what do they do with it? There's an information gap there. If they don't have to buy QNT and they can just keep the fiat, what are the on-chain activities that we're seeing? Greg speculated payment channels. He discussed this with another community member as well, thought the same. So that could potentially explain it. But the entire revenue model for Quant is that they get paid a license, they quote unquote market buy tokens. It's not really a market buy, I think. I think they're market making in a way, but we have no evidence. Tokens get locked. Because of the locking of the tokens, scarcity increases, and the idea is that price goes up when the tokens unlock the next year. They have a nice little profit that they can sell the tokens for on top of the license. So they actually get paid more for a single license, given that the price goes up. But if that entire mechanic falls away, what would be the revenue stream for them? That kind of didn't make sense. Tim, please respond. I'm having a sore throat right now.
I mean, just trying to process everything that happened, and look, my understanding of these emails was kind of, well, double-sided here. First, we had the question of the utility, right? So that is in the first part where Calista says, well, besides payments, there is no further utility. Now, that really bothered me. And then the first question there was, okay, what kind of utility are we talking about here? Is there a misconception about enterprise Overledger and the public side of it? And we weren't clear and sure about that first. We didn't know. Because the email also talks about enterprise, and then Calista says, well, we cannot really say anything. I didn't really want to talk about it, and it could have been that they implicitly went on, well, public OVN while keeping enterprise out of the picture. So that was my first doubt. And then the second thing is regarding the lockups, right? With and the entire story you just told, with licenses being locked up. And I think our consensus during that, well, initial analysis we had over the weekend, well, the two of us at least, and it was kind of that it's not necessarily licenses being locked up then, but that doesn't rule out the on-chain activity. And that could very well be the payment channels that we have, or gateways, I guess. But the enterprise gateways where stuff gets locked up because, well, Overledger still needs to run. So there was a lot of confusion there, and just combined with Calista's function and the messy quality of writing the documents, the emails, it was very, very fuzzy, and I just didn't really know what to think of it. I didn't really clear up my mind, and before it did, reality took over. And I was just processing everything as the storm unfolded on Tuesday. Yeah, so that's kind of my perspective on this. I didn't have any time to process, and as you might know, I'm quite slow to learn. So I usually take something from all angles, and I couldn't do that now.
Yeah, well, there were people that traded it when this video got released. Apparently, to to a dog group or something like that. Some people were bragging about.
That is Scoop's group, Little Dogs, it's called.
Okay, yeah.
I actually got booted from it because I was inactive back in... Actually, Scoop just asked me very friendly, hey, I see you're a part of the group, but you're not really contributing, so is it okay for you to... well, if I throw you out and so I can invite other people in? And I said, well, that's fine, that's okay.
It crossed my mind when I first read this. That's how bad it was. I want to reiterate that. It crossed my mind that, okay, if this is true, should I do anything with this? And I said that to Greg, and Greg and I discussed this. And we both agreed that the writing of the utility was already on the wall. And we concluded that the lockups, and history will now prove this, we concluded that the token utility was there regardless of what they called it, because we also figured, okay, it could very well be that they can no longer call it lockups, but they're calling it vesting or some other fluffy, shitty thing.
Exactly. That's an extra discussion that entered. Like,
yeah, because we were trying to cope as well. And everybody is also always making the SEC the boogeyman. So maybe Gilbert knew some new regulation. That was our narrative,
SEC.
right? Yeah. So our narrative
Coming
was,
for your crypto.
Maybe they have new regulation coming up, and they needed to change some things for the public instance. That could also explain where everything was postponed and delayed and stuff. So in our minds, we were actually creating this nice little sandcastle, or whatever you want to call it, this castle of coping. But we both concluded, both Greg and I, that we shouldn't trade this, because the utility is a thing. When we look at last year, we look at this year. So we didn't, and I'm a shitty trader anyway. So I'm glad I didn't. After the video dropped on Twitter, really quickly, Gilbert showed up in Maine within like 2 hours and debunked the entire thing. Well, I might add, putting a lid on everything, and everybody could potentially live happily ever after, were it not that now Greg is in a pretty awkward position. Admins are meh, and we'll have to see how this will end. The community is probably over it already, as far as I've seen. I want to urge everybody, you can have an opinion. You can have an opinion on everything. I have an opinion on everything, as you well know. That's why I'm a freaking talk show host. But be careful with your judgment. Be careful with your projections. Be careful with your assumptions. It is really easy to shun somebody because you think someone did what he did because of certain reasons you do not know. As you guys know, I'm a psychologist. First thing you learn is leave all your assumptions, projections, and your remarks at home. You have no clue what somebody else thinks or why somebody else does it. You have to ask them, and when they respond, you have to do it with what they tell you, and that is the end of it. So I want to urge everybody, move on with your life. It is over. We have information now that whatever happened, what was said by customer service was wrong. Gilbert has not been lying to us for the last 4 or 5 years. Gilbert's master plan that he created,
he's fake,
in 2008, 2009 is still in effect, and it is working out brilliantly, as you will see later in the show. Do not go on the negativity route to either me or Greg or admins or whatever. Let's move on, is my request.
Yeah, and but before we move on and we welcome Bas to the show, welcome. Can you make the sound? Oh, you're gonna make the sound again tonight, aren't you?
Oh,
Yeah. Before we welcome Bas to the show, I want to quickly point one thing out, because that was a very sharp observation by Shilled, who is doing God's work, literally, by helping us. What? The face Jarno just made. I'm confused. I think someone will turn that into a GIF.
Was that blasphemy?
Oh, I'm sorry.
God's work?
Oh, are we getting demonetized now? No.
I don't know.
What he pointed out is that, well, in the period that Calista was there, the articles on Medium, the YouTube channel, and everything got deleted. And we don't really know why. Could be very well be that Calista was right, because they might indeed be reanalyzing their strategy, or he messed up and just deleted it. anyway, whatever happened there.
So you mean it's lost forever? Like they didn't make backups. He just went.
I'm not saying they didn't make backups, but it's still deleted.
Yeah,
which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, and our hypothesis within the community was, okay, a lot of a lot of terminology is old now. You know, we're talking about maps. There are now MDApps. The company developed much further than its initial scope. They have created much more, and it's much broader, wider, deeper, everything. So potentially they also wanted everything in the new branding, and they just want to make everything like the Quamfy show. They took us as an example, getting a nice uniform brand, a fresh air of professionality, and maybe they went that route, and that was the reason why they removed it. Now we know it is not necessarily the case. But still, they're gone. Everything is well. Token is needed anyway, and we have Bas right here.
Yeah, exactly at the time we.
How are you feeling, Bas? Base. You are. You're not doing it.
I actually was about to unmute, but I couldn't because I was coughing. So I'm actually doing pretty horrible currently.
Oh, fuck, man.
It's hitting me harder than I hoped. I got the COVID positivity challenge. I lost my sense of smell and taste today, and that is actually weirding me out. It's like it's a little bit messing with my head. It is stressing me out in a weird way. It should be okay, right? So I'm not too miffed, but it is actually strange how my mind is responding to no smell, no taste.
That is so weird. Those are two senses that are like so dominant in our everyday life, without us actually even knowing it for the vast majority of the time. And indeed, when they leave, you're like, wait, what? Why did I taste it? Tabasco, and it doesn't even hurt.
I went for coffee beans as a first test. I was like, I don't smell anything. So I went to the cupboard, got some coffee beans, and I took a big whiff, and no results at all. No smell at all. Oh wow.
Savage. But I'm glad you're here, man. Hardcore.
Take care, boss. It's serious. Hope you're okay.
And the upside is that I have a lot of time on my hands to mess around with all the things.
En ieder nadeel op zijn voordeel. Of ieder voordeel op zijn nadeel. Well, okay, so welcome to the show. Glad you're here again. You really added an amazing part in the last Dutch show where you went into NFTs. He's not doing it. Nice. And you were you were showcasing well, how it would work. QRC-721, is that how I pronounce it correctly? And you gave 721, yeah. And you gave us
721.
721, yeah. And you were giving us a showcase of what it would look like in the case of airline royalty points, where we, well, literally swapped those points for an NFT on Postman.
We'll do it again, but
let's
I'm
do
not
it
sure,
again, but then in English.
we'll try. Did you already cover the update in general, the overview?
No.
We haven't, so we need to start there actually.
Let me bring that up and run
awesome.
through it really quickly. Because Quant tweeted Overledger release 2.2.11 now connects to Hyperledger Fabric, an enterprise-grade permission blockchain platform. Read more at Quant Network /news/Overledger. Thread below, hashtag the future of finance today, add Hyperledger, hashtag blockchain, hashtag Hyperledger Fabric. Tweet 2. Overledger users can now interact with a dedicated Hyperledger Fabric network in a sandbox environment and use Overledger APIs to submit transactions and perform block searches. Hyperledger Fabric is intended as a foundation for developing applications and solutions with a modular architecture. It has a versatile design that suits a wide range of industry use cases, especially in supply chain management and financial services. We're using AWS, that's Amazon Web Services, managed blockchain services to host our Hyperledger Fabric sandbox network. And Hyperledger tweeted, check Hyperledger member, Quant Network's newest Overledger release. With this release, Overledger users can interact with a dedicated Hyperledger Fabric network in a sandbox environment and use Overledger APIs to submit transactions and perform block searches. And there is an article. Bas, do you want me to move to the...
I would actually appreciate it because I'm going to get a token to help with the showcase, but it is actually not working currently, so I'll need a few seconds.
That's
You'll walk through this.
Yeah, so if we're looking on the website, you can see kind of the same as that I just read. This release supports interactions with Hyperledger Fabric in a sandbox environment. You can perform submit transactions, perform block searches. Hyperledger Fabric is intended as a foundation for developing applications and solutions with a modular architecture. This release also contains a use case for a customer loyalty program. For this, we have deployed extended versions of QRC-20 Tier 1 smart contracts and QRC-721 Tier 1 smart contracts for NFTs in the sandbox environment. Users can submit transactions using an appropriate QRC token for loyalty and flight rewards. So if we hop to the release notes right here, you can read the same little bit, and then you can see every time users register an MDApp to Overledger, the MDApp will be automatically registered, apologies, and enroll in Quant's Hyperledger Fabric sandbox. Note that we have enrolled previously registered MDApps in Overledger. The location to supply in your API request to reach the Hyperledger Fabric Quant sandbox is, and I would not know how to read this, so I won't, but this is code. I'm just going to try quote location, quote, colon, and then a strange, I don't know how to call this. I'm going to look this up because we were struggling with this the other day. Does this work like this? Name it.
What are you doing?
I want to know what you call a thing like this. How does it called? It's like a pointed bracket.
Squirrely bracket. I cannot pronounce it currently.
A squirrely bracket. I like that. So
I think I figured out my part, by the way.
It's a summary thing. So
are we not talking about squirrely brackets?
Yes,
yeah.
We are. Yes,
oh dear.
Because it's this squirrely bracket. So squirrely bracket, quote technology end quote, colon, space, quote, Hyperledger space fabric, space.
If you
quote,
like this content,
comma.
make sure to subscribe. Press the notification bell.
I appreciate you trying
Leave
to
a
get
comment.
me some time, Jarno.
I love you.
Yeah,
You're ready now to submit
Reach out to us on Telegram, Instagram, Twitter.
You actually did touch on a few important parts, right? So I cannot see Jarno's screen anymore, but he mentioned that in the update there's a Quant Hyperledger Fabric sandbox instance available. and that all registered MDApp have access to a few contracts. In this case, example contracting QRC-20 when it comes to loyalty points, and a QRC-721 contract that manages an NFT, which is acting as a flight reward. While reading through the release notes, he probably skipped the link to the tutorial. But from this point, I might be able to take over the screen if Tim already gave me the rights.
I haven't. I'm sorry for that.
Okay, I give you a few seconds, but
leave a comment. What is a curly bracket named, please? Sorry.
Honestly, I think it's a curly bracket.
I'll go.
I have no clue, guys. I don't know.
Or is it curly bracket? Maybe it's
curly bracket. Yeah, a accolade. A curly bracket is an accolade. Yeah. And
in this case, it borders off some JSON data, but okay, that's neither here nor there. Let me see if I can do the screen share. I think it's desktop 2. Share.
There you go.
And
yes.
I cannot see my mouse. Oh, I can see it now. All right.
It's in your right hand, most likely.
Yeah. First time using an external screen with this stuff.
Nice, professional, man.
So the use case that they shared, right? The example use case, a loyalty program use case. I think you already touched on parts. And what I did is I followed all the text here to gain a little bit of a better understanding, but also to set up all the requests that they are explaining here in order to be able to showcase some interaction with QRC-20 tokens and ultimately a QRC-721 token.
Boss, so 2 seconds. Everything that's in the background, is that undoxed? Is that all publicly viewable? Do not click it now?
So there's no more background here now?
No, I'm wondering if the tabs that are in your background are all suitable to share.
Yeah, they should be okay.
Behind your web browser as well?
You can see behind my web browser?
No, not right now. But if you accidentally click this, okay.
We hopefully should be okay.
Okay, it's good enough for me. Otherwise, I'll edit it out.
Thank you so much.
Please don't.
But I've set up all the requests here in Postman, so we can walk through the little use case over here. It's important to note, in order to communicate with Overledger, we need to be authorized. So I've set up an authorization token, and we're passing some data, a post request to a URL. Normally, you'll make a system or a web app or a document management system that does this stuff. This is just the easiest way for us to post to the transaction or post to the API and get some returns, right? So this is just easy to showcase. The top part is what we're passing to the URL in JSON format, and the bottom part is the request. So we'll resend.
Hold on. I'm sorry for interrupting. I have a suggestion, because yesterday Tim and I had some questions. Maybe you can give a real life example first, and then go through the text so people have a visual understanding of what is going on. Is that okay?
Okay, sure. So my MDApp is in this example is actually registered, and my MDApp ID is also acting as a ID for a user. So in this case, I am a user of a let's call it an airliner, and every time I fly, I will gain some loyalty points. Those loyalty points will be added to my ID, to my account on the Hyperledger DLT, so it's a blockchain. And if we check how many loyalty points my current ID has, we can actually send this request to Overledger. We can actually see it. But so in this example, I'm a user. I took a flight. we are going to get some points, and in the end we're going to exchange some of these points to get a flight reward. And in this example, it can work as a flight reward that allows for a bigger discount on your next booking. That's pretty much a simple use
so
case.
the loyalty points are QRC-20 tokens.
Correct.
And the reward
Your voice, your mic.
Do you hear that too, boss?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So weird. Okay, is my voice still weird?
No.
Okay.
Always weird.
Annoying, yeah. Can't figure out what this is. Anyway, and you can then exchange those QRC-20 loyalty points for an NFT, the QRC-721 NFT, and you can use that and you can program that to do whatever you want, technically. So you can, your example, give people a discount. So you can exchange 100 or 200 of those points for a discount. So that's the real life use case.
Yes, and this is not a use case I came up with. It is actually a pretty logical example, but this is something that Quant is now sharing via their release notes as a link to GitHub, where people can actually go and follow this type of stuff. Probably not interesting for most users, quite interesting for people trying to build stuff with the Overledger API. So let's first start with trying to see if my MDApp is registered, or like my account exists in the Overledger Hyperledger Fabric instance, sorry. And in order to do that, we need to send a request to Overledger. Overledger works in a request and execute type of matter. So first we have a request, and then we need to actually go and tell Overledger that we allow this request, and this request is giving us an ID, but it's also giving us a gateway fee in the amount of, this case, 0 for a token QNT. So every
gateway fee QNT.
So every request we're making on the Overledger returns a request ID and gives us a fee that we need to be paying in QNT. So this case, test ID, so no real amount, but we are going to execute this request ID. So we're pasting in the value they just returned to us, and we can send it over to, probably didn't do it correctly. Whoops. Now I did paste it in, and now we're going to see if we execute this request ID, what is going to happen. So we interacted again with Hyperledger Fabric Quant Sandbox. We interacted with the smart contract, with the loyalty point smart contract, and it is returning us an ID and a value that is a string. So my tokens, I have 600 of the loyalty QRC-20 tokens that are, let's say, connected to my ID on this loyalty points system.
Yeah, and normally what Bus is now doing manually, you would simply book a flight, hop on the flight. When your flight lands, this automatically gets executed. So what we are manually clicking and copy pasting now, that would then obviously be an automatic thing, same as your freaking flyer miles.
So we just saw I have 600 points, and I'm now taking a flight from Amsterdam to Berlin, and I am getting 100 extra points because I took another flight. So now we're invoking the request loyalty points part of the smart contract, and we can actually get the request ID and the cost and execute it again by pasting in the correct value here. Again, like Jarno mentioned, this is normally all automatic, but for the sake of show and tell, this is actually working quite well. So I finished my flight. The system posted a request and executed the request, and now the Overledger talked to the smart contract, and we got a successful return with the code for the transaction ID and some description, right? Timestamp description. This should mean that if we now check if my loyalty points balance is updated, that we should have gained 100 of these new tokens, and we can
had
see
600
it.
previously.
Correct. And you'll
yeah.
see.
700.
So the system works. Overledger works now. No, but the talking to the smart contracts, the QRC-20 contract works. So now we see we have 700 of these little tokens. We're going to go to the redeem loyalty part of this little show and tell. Again, we're going to pass some data. We're going to invoke another part of a contract. Again, we are going to pass an ID, and in this case, we're flying from Amsterdam to Athens, works for me, and we're going to want to have a random token, so I'm just changing a little value for this token string, but because an NFT can only exist once, since I've been messing around with the NFTs, I need to change this value a little bit. So let's say I take my phone, I open the airliner app, and I say, okay, I'm going to exchange 100 of these loyalty points to get a flight reward that mentions that I can get a discount from Amsterdam to Athens on this and this date, or whatever type of function the airliner is making available to me. The app, the airliner system will then send a request to Overledger. They will need to decide, is it worth it to pay a Overledger fee, a gateway fee in QNT? If they are deeming it a good deal, they can actually send an authorization to the request, which will again invoke a smart contract. But this time it will invoke a QRC-721 smart contract, example contract. So now this is the result that 100 of my tokens are now exchanged for 1 extra flight reward. We didn't start by checking the number of flight rewards I've currently added to my little MDAP ID, but I can promise you it will be 1 more right now after pasting in the execution value or the request ID, and we'll see that I by now have done this little show and tell around 7 times. Yesterday when we did it, it was 6 or 5, I think. So now it's 7, which is all actually pretty fun, right? Because don't forget, this stuff, this declaration to which DLT you're talking to is super easily changeable, right? So we can actually Hyperledger, Fabric, and I think it's called Quant Sandbox. So now we're actually polling Overledger to get the last block on the Hyperledger Fabric Quant Sandbox instance, providing I put in the description correctly. We got a timeout, which is actually also pretty strange. Let me see, maybe
what is so interesting to me is if you look at this example with a flight is how many passengers? 150 to 300 or something. That means that there is at least 600 mutations on the network if everybody is using this flight reward system. And
possibly, but they can also roll it into one bigger request, right? Because you can pass arrays of data. And this is probably not the right time for this discussion, but I see it as a real possibility that not every single transaction has to be made as a single transaction. I think there will
on
be
the
quite a
network,
few.
You mean?
Exactly, there will be quite a few roll-up possibilities to pool the transaction and then actually.
But will they do this then still on their internal Overledger instance, because that also counts as transactions, doesn't it?
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah, it won't use gateways.
But for me, the interesting thing to round out this little show is that you can actually see that we now searched for the latest block on Hyperledger Quant Sandbox instance. We get a nice return from Overledger. Actually, a pretty cool return in itself, because this is the first time we're seeing some of that arbitrary data that they're using to check stuff. But that's also something for a different time. But this is actually a super interesting return that the API is giving us. But now we're checking Hyperledger Fabric, right? What we can do, because Overledger is so awesome, and here's the 3 lines of code thing that everybody keeps telling. If you change just a few elements, we can actually, Robston, I think, testnet. Forgive me, I didn't don't know these by heart, but I think we're now polling. Yes, we're now talking to Ethereum, Robston testnet, and we now got to the result of the last block ID there. So we can also check out Bitcoin. And this is what is super interesting, because if you realize that it is so easy to change DLTs by just changing this little part in your code, and Overledger abstracts the rest of the request and makes it happen, that now all of a sudden we get the last block on the Bitcoin blockchain. This is what is super interesting when you're combining it with smart contracts and interoperable coins, and it's all so much more portable this way than it is when hard coding all this stuff yourself and having to deal with all the little quirks and features of the relevant languages and DLTs.
Love it.
So I think I can stop sharing my screen before I do show something that is not
nudes.
Your vacation picture.
First, we're going to cough for 5 minutes now, so please take it away.
Yeah.
Thanks, boss, very much for this.
Thanks, boss. I was kind of silent during your entire showcase because, well, frankly, I have no clue what is technically going on, and I just leave that to all the developers in our community. But I can say a few things, and and that's me as a total noob, because, well, we were on Postman, I think.
Yes, sir.
Not sure. Yeah, and if you look at the codes that you were working with doing those transactions, I saw a little thing called gateway fee. So that means that gateways were in fact actually part of Overledger, which is positive, because I still have idiots thinking that gateways will never be a thing. And
no, but let me reiterate, right? Every transaction on Overledger is in pretty much there are auto execute exceptions, or not even exceptions, but then you roll 2 features into one. But pretty much it's all request, or like prepare and execute. So first you ask Overledger to prepare a transaction for you. Overledger will return a response to you telling you, okay, we can do this under this name, this request ID, and it's going to cost you X amount in QNT as a fee, right? And that goes for every single transaction that is being pushed through that system. And of course, you can have logic in your system, so you can automatically allow any transaction below whatever type of number you set for QNT, so you don't have to be in Postman all the time or copy pasting some request IDs. Again, this is just the easiest way to show you this type of stuff. But again, every transaction will return a request ID and a fee, and then your app, your MDApp or whatever, will have to tell Overledger yes or no.
Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. Because still people doubt what's going on, but this is hard proof, and that's a good thing, because also with those NFTs, I mean, I forget that it's part of a vertical that we're in. I don't know if Jordan has anything to say about this, because I'm just sticking on the general lines. So my mind cannot comprehend what Overledger is all capable of. But
it can do everything, actually.
Yeah.
Right? It can literally do everything if you just tell it to.
Well, it can utilize all the things, which is super cool. So it can do a lot of things itself, but what's way more important, it unlocks all the other legacy, but also modern systems to benefit from the possibilities those systems give you, right? So that is the cool part of it, hopefully.
So if I understand it correctly, then I mean that's the point. The Overledger is an operating system, so you could literally program any kind of thing on it if you want. You can use DLT or whatever as underlying network. Is that correct?
Sort of. It is the interoperability component, right? So
okay.
you'll need different languages, different stuff to build a blanket term, whatever you want, right? So, but it is actually super interesting and working pretty well. And I just wanted to show people a little bit of the interaction because a lot of people have heard of an API, right? But I'm not quite sure that most of the holders even realize how an API works or what it is exactly, or
of course not.
No, and it is not super needed, but it's also sometimes nice to get to see a few examples or have someone show you a parallel between a popular service or something like a Twitter app. If you want to, you guys are quite active on the Twitter, right? Twitter is a service. You can go to twitter.com and post a little update, but you can also do something from your phone or have a Telegram bot or whatever. And the Telegram bot that is posting to Twitter, that is actually using an API, right? So it is doing a similar thing that we just did with Overledger. So Overledger works pretty similarly to Twitter in this regard, so that you can use the API to interact with that system and have it do stuff. If you tweet, then it will post a little text message on a website, but it can also invoke smart contracts, send coins, and add stuff to the ledger in order for auditability.
My head is spinning again, boss. You did it
Sorry.
again. It's okay.
No, it's great.
We'll survive.
And my question is here. Sorry, boss. I'm also not. We just had a heavy session before.
I'm quite happy I missed that, I think.
No, yeah. No, but why is it that with Overledger 2.211 you suddenly jumped on the NFTs? Because we knew that QRC-721 functionality was there before.
So
did 2.21 add something?
Yeah, it did add the Hyperledger Fabric Quant Sandbox instance, so that allowed them to set up a few example contracts like we interacted with just now to showcase some of those things, right? QRC-721 has been a thing in Overledger, but it also has been a pretty badly supported thing, and every time I tried to interact with it, it didn't really work out. And when talking to support, it mostly resulted in, well, maybe it's just not super baked right now. Give it a little bit, and then some of the functionality actually was removed. In the previous interface for, let's call it what we now call tokenize, we could actually connect to that interface from the developer ID. I think Jarno did as well. You could create some QRC-20 tokens or whatever from the developer part of the Quant Network website. They created a totally new website, Tokenize, right now, and I don't think you guys covered it, right? So that's where the 9,600 thing.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I thought you said they created a new website, but it's
sorry, a new interface or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
They created actually what I would consider a storefront in this for this service. But again, I don't think there is a lot of QRC-721 mention there or at all. So when I was walking through this tutorial, I was actually happy to see QRC-721 for the first time being operational, even though it be on Hyperledger Fabric testnet setup. but it is still pretty fun because I have been messing with all the little parts of Overledger that I can get my hands on. So everything new is fun and new to me. So yeah, that's why I jumped
kid
on
in a
the
candy store.
we all have to pick our not battles, but pick what we focus on. And for me, this is not easiest because it's also super confusing for me. Let's be honest. But for me, this is more easy to focus on than the challenges that you guys seem to find yourself in every now and then, or particularly this week.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. I love your
Yes.
consistency with well, not looking at the charts, but just looking at what we can do with Overledger. Also did it during the hype cycle.
I'm not sure if we discussed this in English, but yeah, that's for me, it's the easiest way to have my horizon 5 years out, right? Because all this short-term movement up or down, I really don't care. I want to see the big numbers, and till that time, I'll keep myself busy with testing stuff like this, and maybe even trying to build other nice looking examples. Because I think for me, it is quite funny to see that we are talking about a quite accessible technology, but pretty much nobody is ever touching this relatively simple technology to toy with it, right? So I think we need more examples, and we might need some web apps or tools or toys that people can interact with Overledger stuff.
It just seems, it appears to be really complicated and really daunting. Also to me, it strikes me as it is potentially a very large time investment to do it right. And I think that's for me the main deterrent, that if I want to go in, I have to go all in, kinda. That's the way it feels to grasp, because I'm gonna need to learn a new language, if you will. I need to learn new skills. I need to learn more proficiency with a new software, a new program. And that's all manageable. I mean, I set up the gateways in the past, but it just seems daunting to me, and I don't know if other people feel the same. Maybe they can throw us a comment about this, why they haven't engaged with the free course. You can just sign up for free at the King's College London and maybe dive deeper. Or what was that?
I said, please do. Yes, please check out the Future Learn course. It's super interesting. Important note for me to make, Jarno. I do agree that for you, it's probably a little daunting and stuff like that. The whole point of Overledger is that it's actually lowering the tech need quite a lot. So this is way easier than trying to implement, let's say, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP, let's call it manually in your system. So you can do some transaction, not even cross those systems, but your system can talk to all three of those DLTs. That is way harder to do without Overledger. Like actually way harder to do than it is with Overledger. So I am hopeful that there's also people watching that think, oh wait, that is actually pretty fun to be able to quickly change the location of the network to Ethereum and Robson testnet instead of Hyperledger Fabric Quant Sandbox, right?
Yeah, I think there. I hope there are people that find that interesting. I pray to Gil that there will be a graphic user interface without curly brackets, and I can just do the same as with the Google Play Store. That'd be amazing.
We can make it happen for you.
Yeah, and if it's not, I'm willing to learn. I want to run a gateway, so I'll pick it up then. But yeah, it's
totally fair, right? Like I said, pick your battles. And
honestly, I think running a gateway will be a plug and play.
Yeah,
thing. It will become plug and play, I think. at some point. If already the QRC-20 interface is so simple to understand, like, hey, okay, what kind of token would you like to create? What's the name? How many do we need to mint? Just pay us 18K and here you go.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait, the example that you're giving, that is already in existence, right? Did you realize it? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry.
It's like 10 or 15 clicks, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can have your own stash of tokens. Yeah, for sure.
I was distracted, so I was like, wait, is he talking about something that I know exists or what?
You are well aware of this.
Okay.
Okay, so if you guys are okay, I want to move on to the next topic. Excellent. And this is Son. I just picked out Son. A lot of people tweeted today. And he tweets 8.2 million professionals, and then bracketed, regular brackets, mind you, target group just got QNT promoted on LinkedIn. Fucking hell. Quote, Quant doesn't do marketing, end quote. This is obviously a little bit of a sneer. What you can see here, Oracle has 8,225,821 followers. And they sent that message and it read, our work with Quant, with the hyperlink to Quant on blockchain technology is helping drive financial inclusion and digitization in Latin America. Fast Company with a hyperlink has the story, and that's the LinkedIn story, and we discussed this on a previous episode. What is also interesting is it is the main account of Oracle that has tweeted this. Our work with Quant Network tagged on blockchain technologies helping drive financial, etc. And the link to Fast Company. So why is this interesting? Because this is the big Oracle, the real Oracle, the one that is on the Red Bull Formula One car, and not the we have all the oracles as Chainlink claims. This is one of the biggest software companies in the world. They have 800K following on Twitter and 8 million on LinkedIn. I prefer the LinkedIn show personally, if I had to choose.
I prefer a better microphone on your side, though, to the thingy a bit again.
What?
Your sound, it's a bit robotic.
Really annoying. So yeah, Oracle, shout out to Quant. Really cool. Fucking off my game again because the goddamn microphone. Fucking
no, it's fine. But I just let you know.
Yeah, it's okay. And it will actually fix it by putting my shirt, or does it fix itself by by time?
It fixes you as soon as you just touch it. You just play around with it, and then it's fine again.
Interesting. Maybe it's my fat stomach standing against my desk. I don't know. Anyway, using digital currencies to unlock a continent. We have read this article in previous episodes. I'll put it in the description so you can find it for your reading and viewing pleasure. Let's see what we have here. We have SIX Digital Exchange. And they say, quote, never let a good crisis go to waste, end quote. Let's invest in our future. What is needed for hashtag crypto and hashtag digital assets to take off? Send us your suggestions. And there are 4 options. 1, everything is perfect. 2, reads more regulation. 3, reads real interoperability. 4, reads something else, comment below. Let me refresh this. And 250 votes right now, 84% says real interoperability. This is another wink in the comrades' minds to Quant. They did this in the past when they also had a multiple choice question, and one of the answers was interoperability solutions like Quant Network, something like that. They are Quamfy. There is no doubt in my mind, which is interesting, which is really cool because SIX Digital, as you can see here, is big. They're a Swiss company. We covered them on the show before. One of the latest things that they did is SIX Digital Exchange successfully tokenizes private shares on its regulated blockchain-based central securities depository in partnership with F10 and Equitech. Link is in the description. Have a look. This is pretty cool. The right words cross the screen once again. FINMA regulated, central security depository.
So Yarno.
Yeah.
So I was actually dying from coughing, so I couldn't ask earlier. But did you guys already check out the dashboard from LACChain? Did you guys show it? It is not like a super Overledger thing, right? But did you check out the dashboard for LACChain already?
A couple of episodes back. What was the website again? LACChain?
No, it's dashboard.laccchain.net.
Lol. Bad fingers.
So, this is actually interesting because this is the dashboard for LACChain, right? Yes, sir. So we can see the number of nodes that are available in the top right. I think 59.
59 out of 59 are up right now. The page latency is 477 milliseconds.
So this network is not being bombarded with all kinds of data right now, right? So, but it is interesting to know of this existence, and this might also be a little bit of a sneak preview on what we can expect of a potential Overledger dashboard, which I don't know if it will be similar, but honestly, this is a result of not their involvement, but they're part of this little clique of people running this LACChain organizations, and I'm not trying to talk it down. I actually have a lot of respect for this initiative, but this is one of the results, right? So I just wanted to quickly show you the dashboard.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you can see like a globe here in the bottom right, or a world map. There are some dots on there, and you can actually hover over it, and it reads stamping. Right, I have to start in China, right?
Yeah, no, one of the ones in London will even read, I think, Quant Genesis gateway or block, one of those type. Yeah, that's pretty fun. There's Quant Network node number 1, I'm sure, but there's also one that is named a little cooler.
Name? Let's see. Testing lecture. Quant Oracle node. Quant Oracle
node?
Yeah,
Oracle node, maybe.
Quant Network node. Quant Network node. Something else.
But at least you'll see like a graphical representation of Quant's involvement here, because you can see their nodes, right? So they are part of it. It's not that it is in question, I know.
And is this MAINNET or testnet?
This is MAINNET.
MAINNET. Oh dear. Woohoo!
Yeah. Latest block, 44 milliseconds latency. This is all, might as well been Chinese. Uptime of 100%, which is nice. It is still loading the node history. I'm not patient enough for this.
Yeah, and also it doesn't work, so you can be as patient as you want.
Okay. That's disappointing. But yeah, no, this is really cool. And what for the people that are at home, what we're seeing right now is, yeah, this is going to be difficult, but you see the best block, you see the block numbers. You can see kind of like the thing you see on a radio when you up the volume, it gets more bars. There are 3 of those next to each other. The one in the middle is the difficulty. The more crowded the network gets, probably the difficulty will go up. And the block gas limit, not really sure how to read that, but I think that correlates with the difficulty. And under that, you see a bunch of things. If you have used peer-to-peer torrent stuff, then you can see all these things. So the type, node name, latency, peers, and all those types of data. There's movement. And it's colorful.
and
this is the quality you can expect from the Quamfy show.
but also take like 30 seconds to check it out, and then
Yeah.
wait 3 months, go check it out again, and then you will see a lot of little bars actually moving on this page, because I can promise you, being struck down with COVID, I've spent a bunch of time looking at this at this dashboard, and there are transactions being done. So sometimes they ping up, and then you'll see the little graphs count them and do it. So it's not super busy currently, LACChain mainnet, but people are using it, and some people are actually using it relatively frequently. So that's cool.
What is interesting, what I see now, and it just dawned on me. This is LACChain, Latin America and the Caribbean. But I am now hovering over the United States. I think this is New York-ish, Washington-ish. There is.
I cannot see anything though. You're not showing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to see your beautiful face full screen. So
yeah, a lot of nodes are actually being hosted in the US, and they even have names hearkening to the different countries. So I think there's a Peru node in the US. So I'm not sure if this is bad geolocation tagging, or I wouldn't put all the merit into the little dot on the screen, right? It can be.
But this is what we see right now, right? There's also one on the West Coast, but this is LACChain, Latin America and the Caribbean, South America, developing countries. But yeah, you can also see there are nodes throughout North America and throughout Europe, which is interesting. And I don't know if this is indeed schematic or actually representative of where they are located.
Okay, just zoom in on the map, then we can see a bit more. I reckon you can zoom in, or is this as far as?
Yeah, I think it's one level down. So if you double clicked it, yeah, this is pretty much about it.
That's a shame.
Maybe Jarno has a little trick up his sleeve. He's.
No, but this is more clear. At least we can at least see the world a bit better.
Let's see if we can make it bigger. That's what
okay.
You
So
said.
there's obviously.
Oh, and let me tell you, on the left side of your screen now, you see transaction hashes, right? But we cannot copy the correct full thing, and I cannot really try to use this information. Oh, maybe the copy did work now for you. Just now I saw. Let me see if it actually yields me a result, because I really cannot wait to use Postman to search for one of those transactions via Overledger. But don't forget,
I'm being sent. I typed it into Google, and I'm being sent to explorer.laccchain.net/account/ and then the address.
Very cool.
Yeah. External account. I can click on a QR code. I am most likely going to get robbed.
No, please don't.
I'm gonna scan the QR code, see what it does.
No. Yeah, do it. Look what happens. Kijk wat er gebeurt.
It gives me the address that I just looked up.
Yeah, and that was to be expected, honestly. But it's pretty cool, because now
last week
I didn't know.
Last week I plugged in a lithium-ion battery in a regular USB charger just to see what it does. So we record it when it goes wrong. So this is Quamfy show style. But yeah, what you see here is the address. You see a QR code with an external account. That's what it's called, and that's it, and nothing else works. Submit feedback. There was an error loading the hotchart feedback widget. If you're using an ad blocker, please disable.
So we can see some addresses, but we cannot see transactions yet, right? So my point was that it's actually super nice. I didn't realize explorer.laccchain.net was a thing, but I'm going to keep my eye out on, because it is actually super nice if we can try and explore a little bit more there, because this is interesting. This should be interesting to us. It is to me.
It is interesting stuff, and the more of these networks we connect, the better our understanding of Overledger will be, or usage.
QNT price up 7.1% in the last 24 hours. Current price in euros is 102.47 cents.
Oh no,
ladies and gentlemen, it appears that we are pumping. ish.
Man. Last time I checked, it was 320. Man, now you broke my streak.
Liar.
You're a liar, boss.
Of course.
Hey, shall we do some
I will
Instagram
not
questions?
tell the people in English how I know that you are lying. Isn't that nice of me?
It's very nice.
Trolling.
Hey,
Okay.
time for some Instagram questions. Let's.
Do you want a drum roll?
Yeah, go for it. Your sound, your noise canceling is so high that we couldn't hear. It started.
Always bitching about my sound.
Okay, here we go. The first question. Oh dear. Let's see. The pure potential. Well, dude, that's the first question. The pure potential. Well, we've been recording. We are in episode 35. No, 20, 25, 24, 25, something like that.
25, yes, sir.
25. Yeah. You have 25 episodes to listen to and watch. So go do that. Oh, and do please, if you're on YouTube, please just don't really skip the advertisement because it helps us show. Do it. Gilbert's wife. Very interesting. Yes, and I think that is something we will be.
Okay, you just said Gilbert's wife is very interesting. What do you mean? Can you please elaborate?
Well, she is part of a team,
that's right.
and people assume that
Laura Verdian, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that she just got hired because she is Gilbert's wife. That isn't really the case. There's more to this, and we will be doing an Instagram post soon on it. But we can spill some juice already, perhaps. I don't know. I'm just tossing it up.
Really quick. Master of Business Administration, Master of Science.
I have a stupid question. Did she leave Quant at some point for a little while? For some reason, I'm convinced that she left, and then I was always convinced, okay, she's no longer a part of the company. And then last year or something, I started realizing that either I have it totally wrong, my recollection, or she's back. Not quite sure. Do you guys know?
She works at Quant for 4 years and 2 months as a COO, that's the Chief Operating Officer, and she was the head of healthcare services from 2018 to 2020. Before that, she worked as the director at Deloitte Access Economics for 3 years and 7 months. So director at Deloitte Economics, head of international market access at Intercept Pharmaceuticals. She was a director at GSK. I don't know what that is.
GlaxoSmithKline.
Okay.
Which is a huge pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, global market access, what she did there. She worked for ISI as associate director, senior manager, and scientific advisor. She was a medical affairs consultant and a medical information associate. So what I see from this, she went from associate to consultant to advisor to manager, senior manager, associate director, head of market access, director, head of international market access, then director at Deloitte, another director, and now she is COO. And if anybody comments on how she probably worked her way up, I will kick you from the platform.
And
she's
totally healthcare.
Yeah.
Background, right?
Yeah, for sure. So
more in the marketing side of healthcare and the business aspect.
Yeah, but that's
where the money is, Tim. That's where the money is.
That's indeed where the money is.
That's
okay.
Very
next
CV.
question. Oh, come on. Greg Luntz replied, Greg Luntz scammer. And then I made a joke about it, and then Jarno got mad at me because people misinterpreted it.
I jumped down his throat. I was like,
let's not go there. Next question. The velocity of the QNT token. So the token velocity, and I remember standing on Jarno's balcony, or at least, well, when we met up for the first time in real life, we were actually, one of the first things we talked about was the velocity of QNT. And I didn't really understand. We were talking about token velocity, and then Jarno gave the example of QNT versus XRP, and then Jarno explained XRP as being like a door that just goes open and closes. It just switches around. So it's like flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. And whereas QNT is just being stored in your ledger, you forget that it exists. And that's the token velocity of QNT. So it's a very low token velocity.
Yeah.
Right?
People just hold on to it, and because of the divisibility, it still functions, which is really interesting. So you only need really small bits, and the price can go up indefinitely. So a lot of people can hold a large amount of tokens, and the system will still operate. And as we said in the past, token price can go up infinitely, and it will not impair the business operations in any way, shape, or form. Whilst with, for instance, in this example, XRP, token needs to change hands quickly because the volatility of the token is actually detrimental to the utility. If it becomes volatile up, that's fine if you're holding, but if it goes down, it's shit if you're holding. And if you need to be buying, you don't want it to go up. So that's, in my opinion, a very big discrepancy in their model, and let's not go to the XRP thing. But low and slow is Quant.
Yeah.
But because
Okay.
it has 18
Oh, sorry.
decimals, it's also super poised to allow for microtransactions, right? So that's also important to realize that not everything will be super expensive, or that one token can be worth 2 trillion, and then with your division you have a nice little amount
FUD
going.
here. No FUD in this show.
But you can also utilize this right now to have good pricing, right? Because if every transaction is costing you QNT on the Overledger, it better be a small amount of QNT.
Not if every transaction costs you QNT.
No, it better be a small amount of QNT. If every transaction is 1 QNT, then well.
But that's impossible because
that's
the demand will create. Well, if people need it, it's indispensable for the network. So if I have hogged all the QNT and you need it, otherwise you can't do business, then you will offer me.
Oh, I understand the model, but
okay, sorry.
No,
I thought COVID destroyed your brain entirely.
No, but honestly, pricing is pegged to fiat on Overledger. But
Exactly.
I just meant that I think you guys are calling one small denomination of QNT. You're calling it a Gilbert, right? Or no?
No, Averdian.
Averdian, sorry.
Yeah.
You'll be able to pay a few Verdians as a microtransaction within that system, right? I just wanted to point it out.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, and if you actually put all the numbers behind each other, it ends up with a 24-digit number, which is astronomically high. That's more than sand grains on this planet. They could run out, according to Gilbert. He said it should be enough for the short to medium term. I think he was joking. Hungarian ran the numbers, and apparently Quant only needs to reach 1 million per token, and then the tokens could run out. So it will be a couple of years until we are there. Anyway.
Next question. Where will the next pump come from, as 2021 was purely exchange listings? Before we go there, the moment you're listening right now, on the 29th of July 2022, it's been exactly 1 year since the Binance pump. When Binance? Today, 29th of July 2021. Okay, before we go there, I disagree about that statement. I think there were indeed exchange listing pumps last year, but I also think there were utility pumps. As
exchange
we have
pumps
shown,
don't last for weeks.
No, exactly. And as we have shown in our videos with Hungarian Hortail discussing the tokenomics, everything we found. So where will the next pump come from? I think the same stuff as happened last year, and just hype, bots, needing to have QNT, locking it up, people trading green candles. That's where the next pump will come from. Or super bullish news out of somewhere. I don't know. We don't know. Come from anywhere.
I'm
The
thinking,
pump is always out there.
what was the price last year when everything went bananas? Let's see. 6. Because what is interesting now is if we use the hypothesis of the utility, then we can see that the price last year on July 27th was 75 euros. So we're higher right now. On August 5th, it was 150 euros. Then we dumped massively to 130. And everybody was screaming, it's over, sell your stack, swing it. And then we went on August 26th and we were at 165. Oh, this must be the top. And then the top happened on September, was the 13th? 11th.
September 11th.
At 335 euro.
I remember reaching the peak of my portfolio. I was walking into a theme park that morning. It was around 10 a.m. Central European time. Looking at my portfolio, life was good. That I should have sold. That was the top single. Okay, next question. I'm not sure what this person is questioning. Ignoring the fake vote and everyone voting the tokenomics. We've literally debunked everything in this episode. I think we did. Oh, the last question. When Lambo?
Could get one now if I wanted to, but it's a waste of money.
Then I also
there's a second-hand one here somewhere.
Yeah.
No, this thing's namen. Lambo. Okay. When Lambo.
Then
sorry.
I also put it out on Twitter, and the only thing we got there as reply is token not needed. Well, we discussed that FUD
Let's
this
just
episode.
Okay. Thank you for the heads up. Anyway,
yeah, the token token not needed, as in talk about token not needed. Not as in that person said that the token is not needed. Put it in between the brackets and said. My question was, what should we discuss? And then token not needed in between brackets.
Yeah, that was
so and we discussed that. We did that in the first 45 to 50 minutes. So great job. Then I'm empty from my side, honestly.
Yeah, I'm empty as well, boss. Full of mucus, not empty.
Yeah, full of phlegm, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But I have nothing to add, my guys.
All right. Let's
in that case, we are running it up. As you've noticed, advertisements and the commercials are on.
Advertisements?
Yeah, it's an advertisement. It's not an advertisement. Depends where you're from. De reclames, die staan aan.
De reclames staan aan.
Yeah. So please, if you're on YouTube, just watch them. Watch those scammers. Or obviously you can still install an ad blocker. I don't really care, but if you support the show, just get a cup of coffee. Just let them run.
And I'm curious how intrusive you find them.
Yeah, if it's super annoying, let us know.
Yeah. So because we have some customization options, we appreciate you guys watching and interacting with everything we make a lot. Please follow us on Twitter. The links are on YouTube over there, I think, or they're there. Check out the cards, follow the links. Just move around through our ecosystem. It helps us out so much. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please be kind to each other. Forgive and forget, or well, forgive and learn. Don't forget.
Don't make it to Hunger Games.
Yeah. So love you guys and stay Quamfy.
And we'll see you. I think we'll see each other. We see each other next week. I'm pretty sure I can make that episode. We'll find something.
Stay Quamfy.
Stay Quamfy. Boss, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, boss. Thanks.